Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. This is going to be good. Today, we are taking a look at the ION TTUSB10 turntable. I believe this is discontinued, but it's something that turns up from time to time in thrift stores for fairly reasonable prices. So the question is this a good upgrade from an all-in-one or a suitcase? Is this a good, proper turntable? Is this something that we could recommend for people that want to get started, but want, instead of the novelty factor of a suitcase or an all-in-one, they really want the sound quality that they can get from a potentially higher quality turntable? Anyway, let's check it out. You're not going to want to miss this.
Welcome to Record-ology.
So here she be. This is indeed the ION TTUSB10. I peeled off approximately 20 pieces of lettuce for this thing, 20 slices of bread. If it works out, I think this is a good investment. I think that this could be a good deal. Now, ION is sort of bittersweet for me. Their stuff has been interesting. We've reviewed some of their stuff in the past, nothing like this. This is kind of a step up from their very entry level. However, I would say that ION as a whole is definitely an entry level product. All right, let's start from the top down. So we have a nice smoked dust cover. It does have little rubber feet on the front, which I like. I'm not sure what this raised sort of magnifying glass thing is all about. Just a design element. I'm not 100% sure. Rounded covers, corners. It is hinged on the back, so I do like that about it. Let's go ahead and lift the lid and see what's under the hood. So I do appreciate the fact that this is full size. I mean, this is not miniature. This is a full size platter. The finish, I mean, this is obviously ABS plastic. The finish is kind of a matte finish. I like it. The silver color looks cool. Weight-wise, it is light, but it's not disturbingly light. It does have some heft to it. And let's kind of dig into the components. Let's start in the middle here. So we've got a felt platter mat, obviously branded with the ION branding. This is the first yellow/red flag for me. This is indeed a plastic platter. I can't stand these plastic platters. They drive me nuts. That isn't to say that it's a guaranteed, bad turntable because of that. But for me personally, this is such an important element of good quality sound because you need this to be heavy. When this is heavy, it has mass inertia, and that translates to low wow and flutter distortion. So it is important to me that it has that. These little markings on here are decorative. There's no strobe capability on the outside of this. There's no strobe light effect. It is belt driven, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen the belt. It just fell down, so the belt is stretched. We should be able to pull this off now. And indeed, we just have just a plastic, basic plastic. You can see all of the little parameters of this particular one, date codes and all that stuff. Pretty interesting. But yeah, this is it does have a little bit of weight to it, but not a whole lot. Belt driven. The belt is stretched. It just fell right off. There's enough tension to keep it around the motor pulley. You can tell if a belt is stretched out or not by whether or not it holds tight to the sub platter. See how this is completely loose around the sub platter? So when you remove it from the motor pulley, it should shrink back and hold tight onto that sub platter. You should be able to turn it upside down and it shouldn't fall off. But as you can see, this one is definitely loose. That doesn't mean it's no longer usable. I mean, if I were going to hold on to this long term, I'd probably invest in a new one, but that doesn't mean it's not usable. It has enough tension to wrap around this tight enough, so it should work. But again, these are the things that will introduce those wow and flutter distortions that we want to avoid. So I love looking under the platter to kind of see how it's put together. So we've got our motor down here, which is a good thing. Ideally, you would want this as far away from the gimbal assembly as possible. It's actually a really good position for that. Either there, or another train of thought is putting it up here, which is opposite of where the cartridge is, to eliminate or minimize the motor noise as it translates into the pickup device itself, the cartridge. So there's a channel cut here for that belt. We can see a date stamp here, July of 2008. So I don't know if I'd classify this as vintage or just old. I mean, at one point it goes from old to vintage, right? That's an arguable thing. We do have the main bearing here, which seems solid. It doesn't spin freely on its own. I mean, it rotates, but I don't feel it like going and going. You know what I mean? Like a top. It just kind of while you're rotating it, it spins and then it stops. Down here, we've got the start and stop switch, which is different from the power on and off, which is back there. That's kind of a holdover from DJ turntables to have a separate start and stop for the platter rotation, separate from the actual power switch to the unit. There's a better look at that power switch back there. We've got our 45 adapter up here. It's just a little plastic one. And my guess is that, yep, it's got that little recessed area so that when you want to get it out, you just push down and it allows you to get some leverage. So I do like that. Here is the main gimbal. It does have a counterbalance, which is adjustable. The gimbal itself is plastic. We have seen this, actually recently, we've seen this exact gimbal assembly. It does have an anti-skate. It does have a lift shelf, which is good, or a cueing lever, I should say, and there's the lift shelf. So all of that looks good. Obviously no VTA adjustment on something at this level. You can see the branding there, obviously, ION TTUSB10 USB turntable. So you've already guessed, I'm sure, one of the capabilities that we will talk about here in a minute. The speed selecting switches up here, these have a nice good click to them. This is interesting, an 1/8" stereo input. You would assume that would be like a headphone jack. Well, it is a headphone jack, but it's an 1/8" jack. In this case, being used for an input, which is pretty interesting. Let's look at the cartridge. By the way, this does have a nice metal S-shaped tone arm and a removable head shell, which I was surprised. I thought this was going to be a decorative head shell, but that is a standard 1/2" mount. And what kind of cartridge do we have there? This is not a ceramic. And you may be saying, well, it's got a red tip. Aren't all of those ceramic? This is the exception. You'll often hear me talk about, well, not every red tip cartridge is a ceramic and therefore lower quality. This is a magnetic cartridge. It's a groove tool magnetic, and this is an actual groove tool, not a clone. It says GT right on the top there, and this is a full moving magnet cartridge. This is the cheapest of the cheap of decent magnetic cartridges. So this is one step below the Audio-Technica 3600L. It is not a terrible cartridge. You'll get to listen to it via direct feed in a little bit here. Not terrible whatsoever. So repeat after me. The groove tool is not a ceramic. The groove tool is not a ceramic. The groove tool is not a ceramic. Okay, very good. So let's take one more look top down and then we'll look at the back. And again, we do have, a fairly decent, nice metal tone arm there. There's not a whole lot of give in the gimbal. I mean, it is a plastic assembly back there. That doesn't automatically, mean it's bad. I want to move that out of the way though for a second. Look at this. What do you think this is for? It's like this, clearly it's a plastic punch out from the molding, but perhaps there was a model that had pitch control on this, which is really, really interesting. And maybe this knockout or punch out right here for other models was a cueing light. And the reason why those are there is so that when you're cueing a record in the dark, that you can see where the needle is. Why would you be cueing a record in the dark? Maybe if you had a DJ turntable. We talked about that before. The way that this is configured is very DJ turntable-ish, although you would dare not use this as a DJ turntable because it is belt driven. But if this had pitch control, I'm kind of surprised there's not a knockout for an actual strobe light there, but perhaps there was an upgraded version with a platter with strobe markings, perhaps direct drive, all of that good stuff. Hard to really tell, but that's kind of interesting. I thought that was neat. Companies will oftentimes share moldings from one product to the next. It just makes a lot more sense financially for them to do that. Okay, let's secure this back in the rest, and I'm going to flip this on its end. We're going to look underneath. Okay, so here we are on the bottom side. We've got these nice, large pivoting feet with little foam rubber. I think that's actually more of a foam than a rubber. Little pad there. We do have a speed adjustment right here. It's a single speed adjustment. This over here is the bottom side of the motor assembly. So you'll notice that even though this is a DC motor, we're not making the adjustment to the motor itself. The adjustment happens over here. So that's going to be on the circuit board itself. Besides that, there's not really a whole lot to see under here. So those of you that are just planning to put your Chinese junk comment need to amend it to say Malaysian junk, because this was not made in China. It was made in Malaysia, okay? Just to be, accurate about it there. Power consumption, 5 watts, AC power supply, obviously. Belt driven, as we know, USB, we talked about that. Because it's running a magnetic cartridge, we have a built-in preamp / phono line switch, and a gain switch. Isn't that kind of odd? A gain switch? Very, very interesting. So I wonder if you can adjust the sensitivity. That is very, very interesting. I've never seen that on a turntable before. Now we are going to do a direct feed in just a minute, but first let's do a basic functionality test just with the speaker. For sound, I'm going to be using the Vinyl Moon Lost and Sound Volume 083. If you missed the review of this record, do yourself a favor and check it out because this is the most incredible packaging. You've heard of a gatefold. You've probably never heard of a quad fold record until you've seen this. It's amazing. So let's go ahead, and we got our speaker turned on. Thankfully, because it does have a built-in preamp, I don't have to go and hunt down an external one. Okay, I just hit the power switch. That should bring us up to speed. I'm going to unclip the tone arm. We are set to 33, which is accurate. Cueing levers in the up position. Now, before I drop the needle on my record, I will say that when you buy a used record player, you should always buy a replacement stylus because you have no idea what that thing's been through. If you don't, you risk damaging your records because a blunted or worn out stylus is not good for your records. So I will take one for the team though, because I do want to demo this Groove Tool. We've had some clones on the show. I don't think we've had an authentic Groove Tool. So the cueing lever, there's still some hydraulic fluid or damping fluid in that piston down there, but it does drop fairly fast. All right, let's go ahead and give it a listen. This will be probably pretty copyrighted, so I may only be able to use clips. When we do the direct feed, I'll probably skip through and do like 5 seconds of several tracks. Okay. Needle sounds good, actually. I can tell by listening to it that it's not blunted. So in this case, I lucked out in that regard. Yeah, it works. I mean, so far, I've got no issues with this turntable whatsoever. Now, I want to do something. So I'm going to put the record down. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. I'm going to adjust that gain knob and see what happens when I do that. Okay, so the gain knob makes no noticeable difference here. So perhaps that's for when the preamp is off. Let me know down in the comments below. I've never seen that before. Let's go ahead and go up to 45 RPM. You can see the speed jump there. Okay, so if you look on this line right here, it's a little hard to see, but it is in fact pretty accurate. It's marching to the left, which means that it is in fact a little bit fast. And if I go to 45, now we're looking at the next ring up. That would be this one. And that does look a little bit more consistent. It's only a 2-speed turntable, so we can't go to the top ring, which would be 78. So not too terribly bad. Going back to 33 now, you can see that it is a tad bit fast. Is that an audible amount right there? That's kind of on the borderline of being audible. And you could make an adjustment to the motor underneath. It wouldn't take that much effort. A little tweaker tool. Make sure it's an actual jeweler's screwdriver, not anything bigger than that. And you can make that adjustment pretty quick and easy. Okay, with our handy dandy little Zoom digital recorder, we shall now do a direct feed sound test. Headphones on. Let's give the Groove Tool and the ION TTUSB10 our undivided attention. Here we go. Okay, I was pleasantly surprised with that, actually. I would definitely give that a thumbs up, a recommendation if you come across one. Now, just because the one I found is in good shape doesn't mean everyone is in good shape. So check out all of those particulars we talked about. Now, I got a lot of grief for not giving a good review to that realistic thing that we did a few weeks ago. And I said in that show that, just because that one wasn't in good shape doesn't mean they were all bad. I review on a case-by-case basis. This particular unit was great that I saw today, and I'm happy to recommend it if you come across one that is in equal condition or better. Don't be dissuaded by the cartridge. Again, Groove Tool, it's a good cartridge. There's nothing wrong with it. It is on the lower end of the spectrum, the very low end of the spectrum of magnetics, but it's not bad whatsoever. So take a closer look at that. Do check the particulars, and if you need any help on how to set up your turntable, or if you're just getting into vinyl, you're in the right place. Check out all of our videos for beginners, and definitely hit subscribe to learn more. And let me know down in the comments below, do any of you have this turntable? Can you tell me what the gain switch is really for? That's kind of odd, you know, not expecting to see that. Or the input, the stereo input, that would assumedly just loop through to whatever sound system you've got connected to the unit. So a couple of peculiarities, but an interesting and good turntable all the way around. Well, my friends, that is going to do it. We are soon going to be transitioning to Vlogmas mode, but do not let your heart be troubled, because in addition to all of the fun and merriment of the Christmas season, each episode will also feature an unboxing or record review or something that is akin to a regular Record-ology episode. So don't miss anything we got coming up. We got a lot of fun stuff coming your way, giveaways. We're giving away a whole heap of record players that you're not going to want to miss. I'm actually standing next to a big pile of brand new record players that are going to be given away. Can't wait to do that, but you can't win. You can't even find out how to win if you don't watch Vlogmas. So definitely stay tuned for that. Well, my friends, that is going to do it for today. So happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.